So story time. So I went to school from kindergarten to second grade. From second grade to freshman year, ninth grade, I was homeschooled. All that time I was in the house, you know what I'm saying, watching like Disney and everything on TV and stuff like that, right? So when I get to school, you know what I'm saying, I'm not like everybody else. Everybody that went to middle school, they had trials and tribulations, they had stuff like that. I just come to school, you know, I ain't had no facial hair. I'm just smiling like, if I could find a picture, I'll show y'all. But I'm just like this happy-go-lucky kid because like I said, I didn't go through middle school. I didn't have no turmoil. The only turmoil I had was the fact that I grew up in a narcissistic family system. But I typically isolated myself from my family anyway. So I think that's how I didn't turn out disordered like them or whatever. But I was just making YouTube videos and making music and stuff like that from a young age. So when I get to high school, you know, everybody is like, kind of like, it was asking me like, why am I so like happy-go-lucky? Because I was just happy to meet new friends, you know. In my mind, I'm thinking life is like, TV. So it's still like throughout high school, it's still in the back of my mind. I had this very imaginary way of thinking and carrying myself. Although, you know, I used to be out in the neighborhood and stuff. So I knew like some things and, you know, I got into a lot of fights and stuff like that. But most of that didn't shape my personality. I just knew how to fight. But other than that, everything else, I was still living in this like, you know, imaginary world in my mind, right? Long story short, then I graduate or whatever. And, you know, I had some turmoil within high school. I had some situations, also had some more fights and stuff like that in my hometown. But still, I still had like that, especially on like a relationship level, right? So most of the time, I wouldn't do relationships. I would tell girls I wouldn't do relationships. Now tapping into like my childhood trauma and stuff, I think I avoided them because I was, at one point I was so depressed. I had a lot of pain. I had a lot of turmoil. And it wasn't until I started digging into my childhood trauma when I realized what was going on and I was around narcissists and stuff like that. But I had this real unrealistic way of thinking how things were, especially relationships. So I'm sitting here like thinking like, all right, I want a relationship because I was so depressed. I didn't know how to get out of my depression. So I said, oh, next step, let me get in a relationship. So I meet this girl, you know what I'm saying, we hit it off or whatever. She went to school with me, but I didn't talk to her until after we graduated. Then we get in this relationship. There was a lot of weird stuff going on, like, but I was never really in a serious relationship, so I just thought it was normal. And like, I grew up in a toxic family, so I'm just like, all right, whatever, we're gonna get through this, whatever the case may be. But then stuff started getting real weird, all the manipulation, and I ain't know about none of the terminologies. She called my mom a narcissist, and she said both of her parents were narcissists. But come to find out, she was projecting the whole time. And just one day, she ticked me off to the point where I just started Googling stuff, which led to my discard, and that's how that happened.